Most people spend their entire lives trying to change their results without ever questioning the source of those results. They blame the economy. They blame their past. They blame their environment. But very few ever stop and ask the most important question: who is controlling my mind? Because the truth is uncomfortable. Your life is not controlled by circumstances. It is controlled by the way you think about those circumstances. Two people can face the same situation and walk away with completely different outcomes. One sees limitation. The other sees opportunity. One quits. The other adapts. One complains. The other builds. The difference is not luck. The difference is control. Control over thought. Control over focus. Control over belief. And this is where the hidden law begins. A law so simple yet so powerful that once you understand it, your entire life changes. Your mind does not respond to what is true. It responds to what is repeated. Let that sink in. If you repeat doubt long enough, your mind accepts it as truth. If you repeat fear long enough, your mind believes danger is everywhere. If you repeat limitation long enough, your mind builds invisible walls. And those walls become your reality, not because they are real, but because your mind believes they are. This is why most people stay stuck. Not because they lack ability, but because they are unknowingly programming themselves for failure. Every day, through their thoughts, through their habits, through their environment, they wake up and immediately feed their mind negativity. Scrolling, comparing, doubting, reacting, and then they wonder why they feel unmotivated, why they feel lost, why progress feels so difficult. But it's not difficult, it's programmed, and anything that is programmed can be reprogrammed. That is the secret. Not working harder, not chasing more, but thinking differently. Because once you change the way you think, you change the way you act. And once your actions change, your results have no choice but to follow. Your mind is not just a passive observer. It is an active creator. It filters reality. It decides what to focus on. It amplifies what you believe. If you believe opportunities are rare, your mind will ignore them. If you believe success is difficult, your mind will avoid it. If you believe you are not capable, your mind will prove you right. Because your brain is designed to confirm your beliefs, not challenge them. That means if you don't take control of your beliefs, you will live inside limitations you never chose. Think about that. Most people are living inside mental prisons they didn't even build consciously. Beliefs passed down from family, ideas absorbed from society, fears created by past failures, and over time, these become identity. I'm not that type of person. I can't do that. That's not for me. But who decided that? Was it truth or repetition? Because if it was repetition, it can be replaced. This is where real power begins. Not when your life changes, but when your thinking changes. When you become aware. When you start questioning everything you've accepted as normal. When you stop reacting and start directing. Because once you realize you are in control, everything shifts. You stop blaming. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. And you start building. But make no mistake, this is not easy. Because your old patterns will fight back. Your comfort zone will resist. Your mind will try to pull you back into familiar thinking. Doubt will return. Fear will whisper. Distraction will tempt you. That is part of the process. Because growth is uncomfortable. And your mind is designed to protect comfort. Even if that comfort is keeping you small. But the people who win are the ones who push through that resistance. They don't listen to every thought. They don't believe every fear. They don't obey every emotion. They take control, and that control is the beginning of everything. Because the moment you decide to take control, You step into a different reality, a reality where you are no longer reacting to life. You are shaping it. But this is where the deeper work begins, because controlling your mind is not just about stopping negative thoughts. It's about replacing them. It's about rewriting the internal script that has been running your life for years. You see, your mind operates on patterns. Whatever you repeat often enough becomes automatic, and most people are living on autopilot, waking up with the same thoughts, repeating the same habits, creating the same results, day after day, year after year. Not because they want to stay stuck, but because they never change the pattern. To master your mind, you must interrupt the pattern. You must become aware in moments where you used to be unconscious. When doubt appears, notice it. When fear speaks, question it. When hesitation rises, challenge it. Because not every thought deserves your attention, and not every emotion deserves your obedience. This is power, the ability to observe your mind without being controlled by it. Now understand this. Your identity is not fixed. It is formed. And it is formed by the thoughts you consistently accept. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm not confident, I'm not disciplined, I'm not ready," your mind builds an identity around those statements. And once identity is formed, your behavior aligns with it. That's why change feels so hard, because you're not just changing actions, you're changing who you believe you are. But here's the breakthrough. You don't wait to become confident. You decide to become confident. You don't wait to feel ready. You act as if you are ready. You don't wait for belief. You build it through repetition. Because identity is not discovered. It is created. Think about the greatest builders of history. They didn't start with certainty. They started with a decision to believe in something that didn't yet exist. A vision so strong that it overpowered their doubts. They saw what others couldn't see. They believed what others couldn't understand. And because of that, they achieved what others thought was impossible. This is where visualization becomes powerful. Not as imagination, but as mental conditioning. When you repeatedly see yourself succeeding in your mind, your brain begins to accept it as familiar. And what is familiar feels possible, and what feels possible becomes achievable. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the version of you that has already won. The disciplined version, the focused version, the unstoppable version. How do they think? How do they act? How do they respond to pressure? Now understand this, that version of you is not a fantasy. It is a blueprint, and your job is to align with it. Every decision you make either moves you closer to that identity or further away from it. There is no neutral. Every thought is shaping you. Every action is defining you. Every day is building you. This is why discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is choosing the future over the present moment. It is saying no to distraction, so you can say yes to purpose. And the more you practice it, the stronger your mind becomes. But here's where most people fail. They try to change everything at once, and when it becomes overwhelming, they quit. But mastery is not about intensity. It is about consistency, small shifts, repeated daily, a better thought, a stronger decision, a focused action, done again and again until it becomes who you are. Because eventually, there comes a moment, a shift, where the things that once felt hard become natural, where discipline becomes automatic, where focus becomes effortless, where confidence becomes your default state. And that is when everything changes. Because now, you are no longer fighting your mind. You are leading it. And when you begin to lead your mind, you unlock a level of power most people never experience in their lifetime. Because now, you are not just thinking, you are programming. Deep within you, beyond logic, beyond awareness, there is a system quietly running your life, your subconscious mind. It does not argue, it does not question, it simply accepts and executes. Whatever you impress upon it, it turns into reality. That is why some people succeed almost effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly, not because of talent, but because of programming. Your subconscious mind is shaped by repetition and emotion. The thoughts you feel the most are the ones that go deepest. Fear, doubt, insecurity. If repeated with emotion, they become commands. And once they become commands, your subconscious begins working to make them real. It influences your decisions, your reactions, your habits, without you even realizing it. This is why fear feels so powerful. Because it is not just a thought, it is a conditioned response, a pattern that has been reinforced over time. But here is the truth most people never hear: fear is not real. It is remembered. It is learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. When you feel fear, you are not facing danger. You are facing uncertainty, and your mind is trying to protect you from the unknown. But growth only exists in the unknown. Which means if you obey fear, you reject growth. This is why the successful think differently. They don't eliminate fear, they reframe it. They see fear as a signal, a sign that they are moving beyond their current limits, a confirmation that they are stepping into something greater. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" they ask, "What if this changes everything?" That one shift changes everything. Now understand this: your emotions are tools, not rulers. Most people let their emotions control their actions. They act when they feel motivated. They stop when they feel tired. They quit when they feel doubt. But high performers act regardless. They move even when they don't feel like it. They focus even when distracted. They continue even when it's hard. Because they are not driven by emotion. They are driven by decision, and that is where real power lies. In the ability to act without needing to feel ready. But to reach that level, you must train your emotional control. When frustration hits, stay steady. When doubt appears, stay focused. When pressure builds, stay calm. Because your external results are directly tied to your internal stability. Think about it. In moments of pressure, your true mindset is revealed. Not when things are easy, but when things are uncertain. When things are uncomfortable. When things don't go your way. That is where most people break. But that is also where leaders are built. Because if you can remain focused, when everything around you is chaotic, you become unstoppable. This is the mindset of obsession. Not obsession with outcomes, but obsession with growth, with improvement, with becoming better than you were yesterday. You stop chasing motivation, and you start building systems. You stop waiting for the right time, and you start creating it. You stop depending on how you feel, and you start relying on who you've become. And slowly your entire life begins to transform. Because now, you are not reacting emotionally, you are responding intentionally. Your mind becomes sharper. Your decisions become faster. Your actions become more precise, and people start to notice. They call it confidence. They call it discipline. They call it talent. But what they don't see is the control behind it. The control you built. The control you earned. The control that most people never develop. Because they never go deep enough. They stay at the surface. They try to change results without changing themselves. But you are doing the real work, the internal work, the invisible work. And that is what separates you. Because success is not visible in the beginning. It is built in silence. In your thoughts, in your discipline, in your decisions, long before the world ever sees it. And if you continue on this path, there is only one outcome: growth, expansion, transformation. And as your control deepens, something powerful begins to happen. The noise starts to fade. The confusion that once clouded your mind begins to disappear. Because now you are no longer scattered. You are focused. Clarity is power. Without clarity, your energy is divided. Your actions are inconsistent. Your results are unpredictable. But with clarity, everything aligns. Your thoughts become sharper. Your decisions become faster. Your actions become intentional. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack direction. They don't know exactly what they want. So they chase everything and achieve nothing. But you are not here to drift. You are here to decide. To define exactly what you want from life. Not what others expect. Not what society suggests. Not what feels safe. But what truly matters to you. Because once your mind locks onto a clear vision, it begins working for you. Ideas start forming. Opportunities start appearing. Energy starts building. Not by accident, but by alignment. Your mind is like a laser. Scattered, it has no impact. Focused, it cuts through anything. This is why high performers are ruthless with their focus. They eliminate distractions without hesitation. They don't negotiate with time wasters. They don't entertain things that don't serve their vision, because they understand something most people ignore. Every distraction costs you your future. Look around. Distraction is everywhere. Endless scrolling, constant notifications, temporary entertainment. It feels harmless, but it is slowly stealing your attention. And attention is your most valuable asset. Because where your attention goes, your life follows. If your attention is on noisy, your life becomes chaotic. If your attention is on negativity, your life becomes heavy. If your attention is on purpose, your life becomes powerful. This is why you must become selective. Selective with your environment. Selective with your time. Selective with your thoughts. Not everything deserves your focus. Not everything deserves your energy. And once you take back control of your attention, momentum begins. Momentum is what separates those who start from those who finish. It is built through consistent action. Not massive effort, but repeated effort. Daily. At first it feels slow, like nothing is changing, like your efforts are invisible. But beneath the surface, everything is building. Your discipline is strengthening. Your habits are forming. Your identity is shifting. And then suddenly, everything accelerates. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes automatic. What once seemed impossible becomes your reality. This is the compound effect of controlled thinking, of focused action, of disciplined consistency. But there is a key here. You must trust the process, because results do not come immediately. They come eventually, and most people quit in the gap between effort and reward. They lose patience. They doubt themselves. They go back to old patterns. But not you. Because you understand something deeper. You understand that every controlled thought, every focused action, every disciplined choice is building something greater, even if you can't see it yet. This is where faith becomes essential. Not blind belief, but earned confidence. Confidence built through action, through repetition, through showing up again and again. Because the more you act with purposey, the more your mind believes, and the more your mind believes, the more powerful your actions become. This is the cycle of growth. Clarity creates focus. Focus creates action. Action creates belief. Belief creates results. And results reinforce everything. At this level, you are no longer hoping for success. You are expecting it. Because you are aligned. Your mind is clear. Your focus is sharp. Your actions are consistent. And when all of that comes together, there is no force strong enough to stop you. And now, you begin to understand something most people never do. Success is not about starting strong. It is about staying strong. Because anyone can feel motivated in the beginning. Anyone can get excited about a new goal. Anyone can take action when it feels easy. But very few can continue when it becomes difficult. This is where discipline separates you from the rest. Discipline is not a mood. It is not a feeling. It is a standard. A standard you hold yourself to, regardless of how you feel. Because there will be days when you don't feel motivated, when you feel tired, when nothing seems to be working. And in those moments, your mindset is tested. Most people stop. They wait for motivation to return. They delay action. They make excuses. And slowly, they lose everything they built. But those who master their mind move anyway. They act without emotion. They execute without hesitation. They continue without validation. Because they understand one thing: consistency beats intensity. Every time. Now listen carefully. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every setback, every mistake, every delay is feedback. But most people interpret failure emotionally. They take it personally. They see it as proof that they are not capable. They let it destroy their confidence. But high-level thinkers see it differently. They detach emotion and extract lessons. They ask, what can I learn? What can I improve? What can I do better next time? And because of that, they grow faster. Think about the greatest creators, leaders, innovators. They all failed. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. But they didn't stop because their mindset was stronger than their circumstances. Pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It shows you where you are weak. It shows you where you need to grow. It shows you what needs to change. But only if you face it, not avoid it. Most people run from discomfort. They choose easy. They choose safe. They choose familiar. And because of that, they stay the same. But growth lives in discomfort. It lives in challenge. It lives in pressure. It lives in the moments where you feel stretched. Because that is where transformation happens. You are not here to live an easy life. You are here to build a strong one, and strength is earned. Through discipline, through failure, through persistence. Every time you push through resistance, you become stronger. Every time you face difficulty, you become sharper. Every time you refuse to quit, you become unstoppable. This is resilience, the ability to keep going no matter what, not because it's easy, but because you decided. And that decision changes everything, because now you are no longer controlled by circumstances. You are not shaken by failure. You are not stopped by obstacles. You are not weakened by pressure. You adapt, you adjust, you continue. And that is what creates dominance, not talent, not luck, but relentless consistency. Day after day, step after step, choice after choice. Even when no one is watching. Even when no one is applauding. Even when results are not visible. Because you are not doing it for validation. You are doing it because this is who you are becoming. A person who does not quit. A person who does not settle. A person who does not break. And once you reach that level, success is no longer a possibility. It becomes inevitable. And now you are no longer the same person who started this journey. Something has shifted, not on the outside, but deep within. Your thinking is sharper. Your focus is stronger. Your standards are higher. Because now you understand the truth. Success was never something outside of you. It was always built within you. This is where identity locks in. Not as something you hope to become, but as something you already are. You are no longer trying to be disciplined. You are disciplined. You are no longer trying to stay focused. You are focused. You are no longer chasing success. You are aligned with it. And when identity aligns with action, everything becomes powerful. Because now, there is no internal conflict, no hesitation, No doubt holding you back. You move with certainty. You think with clarity. You act with purpose. And this is the level most people never reach, because they never stay consistent long enough to become the person required. But you did. You stayed when it was hard. You pushed when it was uncomfortable. You continued when others stopped. And now, you are different. But this is not the end. This is the beginning, because once you master your mind, you unlock something greater than success. You unlock legacy. Legacy is not just about what you achieve. It is about who you become, the standards you set, the example you create, the impact you leave behind. Because people will forget what you said. They will forget what you did. But they will never forget the energy you carried, the discipline you showed, the strength you embodied, and that is what makes you powerful. You are no longer living for temporary wins. You are building something lasting, something meaningful, something that outlives you. Because when your mind is mastered, your life is no longer random. It becomes intentional. Every move has purpose. Every decision has direction. Every action builds something greater. And at this level, there is no going back. You can't return to average thinking. You can't settle for less. You can't ignore your potential. Because now you've seen what's possible. You've felt the shift. You've experienced the control. You've stepped into a different version of yourself. And once that happens, there is only one path forward: growth, expansion, elevation. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more doubt. Only action, only discipline, only execution. Because the truth is simple. You either control your mind, or your mind controls you. You either design your life, or you live by default. You either rise with intention, or fall into mediocrity. And now, the choice is yours. So decide. Right here. Right now. Who are you going to be? Because your future is not written by chance. It is written by your thoughts, shaped by your actions, and defined by your decisions. Master your mind, and you master your life.